Thanks, Eleni. Yeah, I'll just admit our next speaker into the room. So we have 3 speakers for this session, and they're scientists from all across the world giving different talks about different aspects of microbiology. So we'll just wait for Wajira Balasooriya to join us, who is our first speaker. And I believe she's just here. Yeah, wonderful. Let me just bring you on. Hey, can we hear you is the first question I have.
Hello, Joseph.
Yes, we can.
Happy International Microorganism Day.
Yeah, fantastic to have you here. You're a senior lecturer from the Department of Biotechnology at Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. So thank you for joining us. And to avoid delaying anybody, I'm just going to let you get on with your talk, which I believe is on microalgae and the solutions they have, or the roles they play for sustainability and in climate change. Is that correct?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me in here. Right, okay. Good morning to all of you. Good afternoon, good evening for all the participants for International Microorganism Day from all around the world. I wish you all a great Microorganism Day. I thank the Federation of European Microbiological Societies and the Portuguese Microbiological Society for giving me this opportunity to deliver a talk on today for the wider participants, including the school students. So I'm Wajira Balasooriya from the Department of Biotechnology, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. If you don't know Sri Lanka, so you can see our tiny island next to my photograph here. Maybe you are interested in knowing about my academic background because I'm making a talk on microalgae today. I obtained my basic degree in agriculture and master degree in agriculture from a university in Sri Lanka, the leading University of Peradeniya. And then I obtained a master and my PhD in Ghent University of Belgium, which is in Europe. And then I have 2 short-term postdoctoral research periods at the Argonne National Laboratory and University of Winnipeg, Canada. My research focus, as you can see here, are microbiota in the environment and their applications in soil fertility management, environmental biotechnology, and others. Recently, I have developed a great interest on soil and aquatic microalgae as biofertilizers for paddy and for wastewater treatment. That's why I have selected this topic for today to give you awareness on this very important group of microorganisms. The content will be like this: what are algae and microalgae, diversity of microalgae, why we should appreciate microalgae, role of microalgae in mitigation of carbon dioxide, role of microalgae in the bioeconomy, role in wastewater treatment and agriculture, and then I will come to the question that whether algae could save the world in the energy crisis. So what are algae? Algae, the word originates from the Latin word alga alligata, meaning seaweed. So algae thrive in both saline water and environments, ocean and lagoons and freshwater environments such as lakes, ponds, and rivers. Usually people have bad experiences with algae. Therefore, algae are perceived as bad or nuisance. That's why they are named seaweed, pond scum, and algal bloom. Most of the people are not aware of the importance of algae unless they have studied or have taken a short course on phycology, which is the study of algae. But by my talk, I'll show you that we need to appreciate algae for the services they have done and are continuing to do. Let's see what are they. What are algae and microalgae? Algae are not identified as a consistent taxonomic group, but they constitute of several divisions of phyla which share common characteristics such as aquatic, photosynthetic, no vascular tissues in simple vegetative structures, and simple reproductive bodies. Based on the cellular morphology and size, algae are classified as microalgae and macroalgae. Multicellular larger algae, which are visible with the naked eye, are termed macroalgae, while microscopic, smaller, single-cell organisms are named microalgae. That are the focus for my talk today. The latter generally includes microalgae, includes prokaryotic cyanobacteria, blue-green algae, and eukaryotic microalgae, including green algae, red algae, and diatoms. Why we should appreciate microalgae? Around so long ago, around 3.5 billion ago, the earth was not like this. There was no adequate oxygen for the plants to grow. First, microbes on the earth were anaerobic. Later, blue-green algae or cyanobacteria have evolved. They were able to photosynthesize using carbon dioxide and light energy. Oxygen was released as a byproduct of this reaction. With time, Earth's atmosphere was filled with oxygen so that eukaryotic microbes and plants and other animals like the human could live on Earth. Therefore, we owe very much to these blue-green algae that they are the reason why we as humans are alive on Earth. At present, also microalgae in marine and aquatic environments are producing lots of oxygen, half of the oxygen on the Earth, while the total biomass of algae is only the 10th of the biomass of other plants, which are responsible for producing half of the oxygen on Earth. So we should appreciate microalgae. Not only this, let's see other ones. Here you can see the stromatolites. These are the earliest blue-green algae found on Earth. They are found at various locations as fossils and in few places as living systems at present. Stromatolites are layered biochemical structures formed in shallow water by the trapping, binding, and cementation of sedimentary grains of microbial biofilms, mainly cyanobacteria. They exhibit a variety of forms and structures like these ones you can see. Have different morphologies, conical form, straight form, domal, columnar, and branching types. So these are the earliest blue-green algae. Next to the oxygenation, microalgae are very much important as the primary producers. We are dependent on the primary producers. What are these primary producers? They are the organisms who will produce food for us. Microalgae as primary producers use carbon dioxide or dissolved carbon dioxide in aquatic environments for photosynthesis using light energy, and they become the key source of food and energy for other organisms in aquatic ecosystems. And we obtain food from aquatic ecosystems. In the ocean environment as well, the unicellular microalgae, including cyanobacteria, generally known as phytoplanktons, are the major primary producers in the food web. These are usually invisible, but contribute for half of the annual global primary production, which is a large amount of carbon. And this is an equal amount produced by all the vascular plants on the land environment, such as the forest. Here you can see a marine picture, which is we cannot see the phytoplanktons, and on the above picture you can see how the phytoplanktons are spread throughout the oceans on the earth. In this small video, I hope you can see the video. Maybe it will take time. So this animation indicates the diversity and abundance of phytoplanktons in the oceans, but most of them are not visible unless they form a bloom. So they are fascinating to see, but not visible to the naked eye. And what is the role of microalgae for mitigation of global warming? What is global warming? Global warming is the is one of the great issues on the planet due to rising greenhouse gases as carbon dioxide. The phytoplankton play a major role in the regulation of atmospheric carbon dioxide levels by sequestration of carbon dioxide. 1/5 of the net primary production by planktons is moved to the ocean interior as sinking particles or dissolved material. Large fraction, 99% of the organic matter which have been sinked are mineralized to form inorganic carbon which enter deep ocean circulation that will take 100 to 1,000 years to recycle. Thus, the phytoplankton act as a biological pump to transport atmospheric carbon dioxide to the deep ocean, where it is sequestered for long times. And that mechanism is more efficient than the carbon dioxide capture by the terrestrial plants. What are these microalgae? Are there different types? Of course, there are many types. Algae are not identified as a consistent taxonomic group, but they constitute of several divisions or phyla which share common characteristics. These are such phyla: red algae, green algae, brown algae, diatoms, haptophyte algae, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, likewise including blue-green algae. But phycology is the study about algae which dates back to late 18th century by identifying and naming a kelp species, Fucus maximus, by Swedish explorer Per Osbeck. He is an associate of the father of taxonomy, Carolus Linnaeus. However, at present, there are agreements and disagreements among phycologists on the classification of different taxonomic groups as algae. The commonly recognized ones are the ones I have shown you, but there are some agreements and disagreements. This picture again shows you the great diversity of microalgae. I have not named them, but there are vast variety of microalgae according to their morphology and functions, and also based on their ecology or where they grow. There are an estimated several 100,000 of algae species. About 10,000 have been classified so far. Currently, about 20 microalgae are used for economic purposes. Here you can see major growth forms of cyanobacteria. They can be growing as unicellular ones, colonial ones, and unbranched filamentous ones, and branched filamentous ones. These are some of the pictures that I study from my studies about unicellular cyanobacteria from paddy fields in Sri Lanka. And these are the filamentous cyanobacteria we have found from our paddy fields. So, by knowing the different types of microalgae, what are the roles of microalgae? I have already shown you two, and there's a big role for microalgae in the bioeconomy. Microalgae are used for extracting different food and feed for animal and pharmaceutical products for health sector, cosmetic products for cosmetic sector, biofuel for the energy sector, fertilizers for agriculture, and they are used for wastewater treatment. And not only the food and other chemicals that I have mentioned, they are taken for biofibers, chemical industry, lots of applications are there. Let's see the major ones. So, food ingredients and healthy foods. Microalgae possess high nutritional value containing high proteins, lipids, and antioxidants. They are used as whole organisms or they are used for extractions. Examples are green algae, blue-green algae, and some of the bioproducts are as you can see here. You can see two pictures of cultivating spirulina on the right side, and at the left side cultivation of chlorella in photobioreactors at the left side. So there are different systems of microalgae growing. For growing microalgae, open pond systems, closed photobioreactor systems, and environmentally controlled systems as well. As you can see here, there are different products have been produced, value-added products in different shapes and forms, including chlorella chewing gum. And there are different cosmetics products as well, like you can see here, different species like Duonalia salina, Hematococcus fluvialis are used for producing different cosmetic products. And not only that, microalgae are used for producing bioplastics and carbon fibers too. And they're used for wastewater treatment, as I have mentioned. Globally, our economic and societal development has led to increased water demand along with water deficit. There's a big demand for having recycled the wastewater because we will have a water shortage in the future. Therefore, it is crucial to select wastewater treated technology that could serve the dual purpose of effective purification and resource recovery. So there are some drawbacks in existing systems, and we can use microalgae for wastewater treatment. Microalgae can utilize solar energy for their growth, and they can simultaneously remove pollutants from the wastewater. They can grow in the arid environments and high saline water as well. They are more efficient than the existing systems because they do not require energy as in the existing activated sludge wastewater treatment system. And the harvested products from the wastewater can be utilized for some other purposes like extraction of fish and animal feed, biofertilizers, likewise. And here you can see a wastewater treatment plant which are applying microalgae. And in the agriculture, microalgae are mainly used as biofertilizers. For example, free-living cyanobacteria and Azolla anabinae are used as biofertilizers. And I have also tried to produce a biofertilizer for paddy cultivation in Sri Lanka with some success. And then my next major question, could microalgae save the world? Energy crisis is the greatest problem we are facing in the world. The major gas and oil deposits are so rapidly depleting because of our utilization. These deposits also came largely from algae deposits that we don't know. And now it is essential to find alternative energy sources for a sustainable future. Microalgae have potential to produce different kinds of bioenergy: biodiesel, bioethanol, methane, biohydrogen, and bioelectricity. I'm not going to describe you all these in detail. However, now there are places called microalgal biorefineries, which allow the transformation of biomass into the production of biofuel, food, feed, chemicals, polymers, and value-added ingredients. So the microbes will be cultivated in the biorefineries, and then harvest will be extracted in the refinery. Other products will be taken, including the bioenergy. Why microalgae are best as future fuel? They do not require cultivable land and fresh water for cultivation. They can be grown quickly with minimum requirements irrespective to seasonal conditions. Microalgae can feed on industrial waste, especially wastewater. They use CO2. They do not need energy. Biomass productivity of the algae is 10 times as compared to crops and other plants, and it could be cultivated in arid temperatures like deserts and in brackish or salt water. So bioenergy is another gift of the algae to humankind. Here you can see two large biorefineries in the world, and there are many algal biofuel producing companies in countries across the world. I think in Portuguese or Spain also is available, and you can see such companies using this link. With that, I will sum up my talk. So as a summary, there are multiple roles of microalgae for which we should appreciate them. They have oxygenated the earth and they are continuing to do so. They are the key primary producers in aquatic environment. They support for mitigation of global warming to reduce carbon dioxide levels. They produce different bioproducts and they are useful in wastewater treatment, and they are very much useful to save us to find a good bioenergy. With that, thank you very much, and I wish to especially thank Joseph Shalworth and the team who is organizing International Microorganism Day. And for the presentation, I especially thank my research students, including Ms. Tilini Dinushka, who supported me preparing these nice slides. Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving us a fantastic overview of all the wonderful things microalgae do. They seem to touch on every aspect of life and are thoroughly fascinating. I'll pass the microphone over to Eleni so she can ask the question from the YouTube.
So we had one question that says, do you foresee microalgae as a possible solution for the world feeding problem?
Yeah, the feeding problem, maybe we need some clarification. Is it animal feed or food or?
I guess for general food, the question, human food, yeah.
Yeah, microalgae cannot replace all the human food, in my understanding, but microalgae are the source of human food in aquatic systems. They are the primary producers. So then all the food coming out of the aquatic systems, oceans, rivers, lakes, the fish that we are eating coming, the source is microalgae. But if you are going to increase the production of aquatic life, then we can increase the growth of microalgae, and then by that way we can have a solution for the feeding problem in the world. But as I have shown you in my presentation, there are some nutrient-rich food, healthy food, which are coming directly out of microalgae like spirulina and chlorella. I hope it is sufficient.
Okay, so it's the source. It is the source of all our food, one way or another. But you showed us in your talk some delicious microalgae-based snacks and food. I think you had a slide, and I just wanted. Have you eaten any of those? Could you give us a bit of a breakdown of which of these are the tastiest, and which ones you've tried, and which one we should eat if we could get our hands on these microalgae food?
Unfortunately, I could not eat them actually. I also didn't have the experience yet, but I have seen spirulina tablets, which can be taken as pills, or even the spirulina mix in the snacks or the cornflakes in the morning. You can mix spirulina powder with cornflake in the morning. And the other ones, actually, I also didn't have experience, but I'm looking forward as you.
Yeah, and do you know what kind of nutritional value it adds? You know, is this a good protein supplement? Is it carbs? Is it just a big mixture of different macromolecules?
It's a good one for the proteins and the good lipids. And they are supplying some carbs as well, the beneficial carbs.
Okay, so it might be quite good for people trying to bulk up in the gym even, because it has protein in there as well. I had one more question for you, which was, we were talking about the role that microalgae plays in climate change, or maybe even in helping us with global warming. Are microalgae, a bigger influence at capturing carbon than all the trees? Like, how do they compare to trees on land? are they much more capable at, you know, fixing carbon than plant life? Or, you know, do you have any idea what the relative effectiveness of plant life versus microalgae is in carbon fixation?
As a total, they are doing 50-50. 50% of the carbon fixation is coming out of the marine system from the phytoplanktons or microalgae, and the rest 50% is coming out of the forest and or the land plants. However, when we consider the biomass, the phytoplankton biomass is lesser when we compare it with the biomass of the land plants. It's I think it's 1/5 when we compare, and so their mechanism is efficient. The phytoplankton in the oceans, they take dissolved carbon dioxide in water, and the land plants, they sequestrate atmospheric carbon dioxide. The mechanism is more efficient with the phytoplanktons.
Okay, so they're more efficient, they weigh a little bit less, but they capture just as much CO2. So they're pretty good then in terms of, yeah, fixing CO2. Are there ways that we could increase the rate at which they, you know, sequester CO2, or ways that we could increase their population, or is it out of our control?
Yeah, we should find ways to increase the population. As I have mentioned, we can couple them with the wastewater treatment. We are producing a huge amount of wastewater, and we are leading to a water deficit as well. Then we should find ways to recycle the wastewater, and use of microalgae will be best way to do that. By that way, they can fix carbon dioxide in the water, because finally we can harvest the algal cells after treating wastewater, and use them in the soil as biofertilizers and other products like animal feed and all. So they will be sequestrated.
So I just wanted to know, in Sri Lanka, where you're based, obviously you've got, you know, the ocean all around you. Do you have quite good access then to phytoplankton and microalgae for your institution? Is it one of the advantages of being based where you are?
Yeah, but although you have, as you have mentioned, we have quite a lot of ocean area in the Indian Ocean. But as far as I know, the studies on phytoplanktons are still developing and very minute. And my department, I have initiated some work on microalgae, but the inland ones, still I had to look for the oceanic phytoplanktons. I did study something about the brackish water in the lagoons, but not in oceans.
So what do you need to go study the phytoplankton in the oceans? Do you need like a big boat and a crew to go out and find them?
Of course, I think there's an aquatic resource research center in Sri Lanka, but I think if I have an interest, then I can join with them for such studies.
Okay, so yeah, you need just some ships and some helpful crew to get out there and take some samples. Okay.
Exciting.
Yeah, very. I mean, that would be a really good trip, just getting out into the ocean to go and get some nice samples of phytoplankton. I'm just going to hand us over in a couple of minutes to the next session, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining all the way from Sri Lanka to us here in The Hague, in the Netherlands. And yeah, that brings us to the end of our Science Talk session, but it's been fascinating learning about extremophiles and plankton. You know, organisms that do amazing things in so many different strange environments, and things that probably people don't think about very often. So it's been brilliant to have you here, and I can only, and we'll hopefully maybe see you again next year, or drop us an email and perhaps we can try and exchange some samples of phytoplankton, and maybe even get something under this microscope one year so we could have a look at them.
It's a nice setup there.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us in the studio, and enjoy the rest of International Microorganism Day tomorrow.